Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to the Metal3 Community meeting. Please remember that the meeting is being recorded. Today is April 6th, 2022. And as always, let's start with the introductions. If you are new to the meeting, please introduce yourself. But based on the participants list, I think everybody is already a long time participant. So let's go to the first agenda point, and it is from me, and it is related to something that I have noticed recently in the bare metal operator. So in the bare metal operator, or more like in Ironic, we have the ability to use either MariaDB or SQLite that was implemented in the Ironic image not so long ago, and it is also implemented in the scripts when we run Ironic outside of the cluster, and that works nicely. But recently I was deploying DMO in a Minikube cluster, and I noticed that we are still deploying as a default the MariaDB. And I was just interested in your opinion that would it be okay if I would modify this to make the SQLite a default, or it could be there with the customize, or I can just create a separate Ironic deployment that uses the SQLite and basically just skips deploying the MariaDB and the related configs and secrets. Would it be okay from the community?
So this is probably a bad time to ask because all of the Ironic people are at the OpenStack PTG this week.
That's unfortunate.
Yes. That said, I think the answer is yes, it would be okay. The only reason you would need MariaDB, I think, is if you're deploying like multiple conductors because you want to scale out.
Yeah.
And we don't do that in these deployment scripts today. So I don't think it's adding any value to have MariaDB, and you should be fine with SQLite.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Say.
That sounds good. Thanks. Because that would have the consequence of that we would test with SQLite in the integration feature tests and all of these automated tests that we have currently in the community. So as you mentioned, this would come only in use, this MariaDB, when we have like multiple conductors and so on. But in the CI we wouldn't. So that would also maybe a bit simplify the CI deployments, not much. But anyways, I think that would be good.
Yeah, it's probably worth sending a quick email to the list just to catch the Ironic people like Dimitri and Ricardo. But I would guess the answer is going to be yes, that's fine.
Yeah, thanks. I will do so. I will do that. Is there anybody else who might want to add something to this?
I have another question. So do we have currently in any of the scenarios in our CI, which is testing the SQLite already,
No.
or it's all MariaDB still?
All MariaDB.
If I remember correctly, at least in the Ubuntu, you have these local containers, and we don't have any MariaDB in the local one, is it? So, but that's also in the source cluster, right? Not in the target.
Yeah, that's the ephemera, the source cluster only. If that's the case in the Ubuntu, I don't know what is the flag, because that's controlled with an environment variable. I don't remember how is it set, but if it's set to use MariaDB SQLite, then there
that's the only thing. Yeah. Okay, though it's yeah. Anyhow, I think your point is right. It's anyhow not really testing the SQLite. So I would also go for a issue or mailing list and then ask if it's okay to remove it.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else?
I
No,
would just like,
sorry.
so
I-
yeah, I was
Please
just
go on.
saying that I think the nicest way would maybe be to do it similar to, is it Keep Alive D that has a separate like patch through customize to add it, so you can choose if you use that or not. I'm not. It's if you go one up, I think there is one for Keep Alive D. Yeah, and this adds the Keep Alive D container to the rest of it. So we could do similar, like if you want MariaDB, do a patch like this, and otherwise don't.
That sounds an elegant solution. Yeah, I like it actually. If we can like this template it like this, that sounds good for me.
Yeah. Just wanted to say I agree with Zen comments that could be worth to send a note to the Ironic guys. I also think it would be fine in general, but better to check with them.
Okay, thank you all. I think then we are on the same page with this. That's very good. Thank you. And thanks for this suggestion, Leonard. Also, I will check out this templating with what we use for the Keep Alive Day. Okay, I won't take more of your time. So next agenda point is from Feruz.
Yeah, hello. This is regarding my my comment that I left on Slack a couple of days ago, like 2 days ago, I think. And there's this issue that I created. I'm sorry that I didn't describe it fully, and it probably confused a couple of people. So the problem is when we're using BMO with cluster API workflow, when there is Kaplan3, and then when machine is provisioned, so BMH is provisioned, it is allowed to delete the BMH, to deprovision the BMH. So you can do kubectl, for example, delete BMH, and then deprovisioning will kick off. While KP machine will stay as it is. At some point, it will go crazy because I think it will realize that the underlying host is not reachable or something like that. So we'll have to do some extra work to recover the cluster in that case. So for that reason, we were thinking if there is no deletion timestamp set on the machine, so if user did not try to delete the machine, but accidentally or intentionally try to delete the BMH, then we shouldn't allow the provisioning to continue. Because again, we as a source of truth rely on machine. It's like from top to bottom. Then another scenario, if so we would, in this case, we would basically, let's say user tried to delete the BMH, which is provisioned, but he didn't try to delete the machine. So BMO would block the deletion of, the deprovisioning of the BMH until there is a deletion timestamp on the machine, meaning user tries to actually delete the machine. Then when proper deletion kicks off from Capi to Metal Cube, let's say we started to delete the machine, then Kaplan3 recognized that request, that it started removing the image, or it will try to remove the image from the BMH. The provisioning finished, owner references are removed. Then we can ensure that machine is deleted because there is no owner references. So cluster API machine is gone, Kaplan3 machine is gone. So BMH is left in available state, but the deletion timestamp that user initially set with kubectl delete is still there. So then we can actually continue deleting, like BMO can continue deletion of the BMH because there is no dependencies on this resource, and the machine and Metal Cube machine is properly also removed from the cluster. Draining has taken place properly. The etcd checks are done, so there is no issue. But again, if user tries to delete, to deprovision the BMH without actually deleting the machine, then draining does not happen because, as said, the provisioning starts, so KP cannot do any draining on the node, and even that CD checks will fail. So this is what it was about. I'm really sorry that I confused in the description, but I wrote in the next comment, if you scroll down, Adam, similar what I just explained. So please let me know what you think. Any objections or comments? I don't know. I think it's trivial change. We could go for a finalizer or annotation way of blocking the deletion with certain conditions, and perhaps it's not that big change, and we could just, if people agree on this addition, I could just submit a patch, or if you think that if it needs some rounds of discussion, I could go even for a proposal. So just let me know what folks you think. Yep, that's it from my side. So if anyone has any questions right now, please let me know. Otherwise, you can just leave them on the issue.
Thanks for explaining that. I understand better now what the issue is. It's when the user goes straight to the BMH and just deletes that. We could say, I don't think we should say this, but I think we could say that if the consumer ID is set, then we won't deprovision yet. But I don't love that, because it's really hard to report to the user what the status is. Like, you know, you said delete, and we're just going to sit there and wait for you to take your client ref off consumer ref. I believe that I fixed this problem another way in the cat BM, which is our fork of the very, very old version of CapM3. I will attempt to dig out that code for you. But part of it is the machine watches the provisioning state of the bare metal host. And if it goes to deprovisioning, then it will delete the machine. Obviously, that's too late to successfully drain the node, but my recollection is that resulted in everything eventually cleaning itself up. But don't quote me on that. I will try to dig out the code and find it for you.
Yep, that would be nice. Thanks a lot. And for like, how do we know that it is the right time to do the deprovisioning of the BMH? I was thinking is to use the owner reference, because the owner reference is the last thing that CapM3 controller removes from the BMH when deprovisioning has been completed successfully. So let's say, like, if by the end of the deprovisioning, if the owner references are not there, we assume that it is safe to delete the BMH, because it is parent objects are not there anymore. I'm not sure about consumer ref. I think we're talking about a similar stuff. Or
so the consumer reference is the field in the spec saying this is, you know, this host is allocated to this machine, or whatever type of object. The owner reference, honestly, like CapM3 should not be setting an owner reference on the BMH, because that would mean the BMH would get deleted when the machine gets deleted. And that's not what you want.
I was thinking, actually,
Isn't it so that we are already setting an owner reference on the bare metal host?
We are.
Yeah, and when we are actually deleting the machine, when we are deleting the machine, it does not delete the BMH, but it rather deprovisions the BMH and makes it available for the next round of provision or to be consumed later. So that was the process, I guess.
It doesn't sound like you're setting an owner reference then, because if an object has an owner, then when the owner is deleted, the object will be deleted, and you'll lose the BMH, and you'll have to recreate it, which is not what users want in general, I don't think. So if it's working correctly now, then you're not actually setting an owner reference.
Yeah, Zane is right, actually, because owner reference based flow, if the parent object is deleted, then child should be deleted too. But in our case, that's not the case. But I'm also confident that we're setting owner reference. I'm just checking, right? Just a second.
Yeah, I think we are. I don't know why it's not getting deleted now, to be honest. It was an old thing.
Are you setting it the other way around, maybe? Are you setting the host owns the machine? I could possibly buy that.
I believe, if I remember correctly, it was a Metal Cube machine, which was an owner. But Firuz, do you have a deployment?
I have an example. Yeah, I have a BMH from the Jenkins, but can I share it for a second? Well, or I can just say that this BMH, for example, it has consumer ref, as Zane pointed out, in the spec, which is pointing to the owner Metal Cube machine. Plus, it has owner references field, like in the metadata. Sorry, it's in the metadata part.
Okay. So that's a bug then, in my opinion.
Yeah. But yeah, this is something we can definitely agree. I don't know how it works, but maybe if that's the consumer ref that is being cleaned up by the end of the deprovisioning by the Captain 3, then fine. We could just say that if the consumer ref is empty, so it's good to it's safe to delete the BMH because it's not being owned by Metal Cube machine. But this is actually surprising to me. Why? But I will check later on at the code that we have owner references plus consumer. This is interesting. But thanks a lot. Zane,
yeah, I'll try to dig out my patch as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
If I may have a suggestion, so this is quite an in-depth topic about this, and of course, feel free to discuss it here. But my idea would be that when you have finalized like plan how you will implement it, it would be nice to create a proposal, put it into the MetaCube docs just somewhere as a proposal. Community would accept it, and when you finished with the implementation, we could move that to the documentation. Because I think it's quite important to for anybody who is interested in like the cleanup process, right?
Yep, that sounds good. So you in the Metal Cube docs, you mean like explain like the flow of the deletion?
How I would imagine this is that first you just put it somewhere. You don't need to put it into the book. Yeah, the flow itself. So the how the cleanup goes and what are the dependencies, as now you just explained between each other. And when this is like accepted, like just in the root directory or somewhere, we would accept it as a proposal. And when you finished with the implementation got merged, you basically just copy it from like the root into the user guide to the relevant place. And then we have the documentation already. So we would reuse the proposal as a documentation.
Yep, sure, I can do that.
Yeah, thanks. Because I think these more nuanced things might come up for people who operate these things, and that could help. Yeah, thanks. That was just my suggestion. And yeah, and another thing, I think we all agree that this is a legitimate feature, and we don't need to check this next week. So I think we can accept, right, the triage.
No, I don't necessarily agree that we want to do this, but we can continue that discussion. I don't know what that means for triage. I don't think we have to bring it up again at the next meeting. So.
Yeah, that was like my point, that I think we don't need to triage it like next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else to this from anybody? Okay, if not, then we have a review request from Arvinder.
Hello, thank you. I had put this proposal together a few weeks ago, hoping to get more traction on it, have more people look at it. I think on the surface is a pretty straightforward proposal. Focuses primarily on control plane nodes and failure domains. So just a request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just let me quickly check. Yeah, it's in design. Yeah, like just I'm just referencing my comment on Ferru's like plan. You could, for example, put it here in the design. I forget that we have a design, and we would move it from here. Yeah. So, and this is about the failure domains. Okay. Is there somebody who has some opinion other than what is written down already in the discussion related to these failure domains? Okay, if not, then feel free to check this proposal. And that was the last one, the last agenda points. Is there anybody who has something to share that's not on the agenda? Is there anybody who has suggestions, problems, improvements, or questions related to the meeting itself? If not, then I thank you for your time, and we will see each other next week. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.